even if I didn't have friends so greatly impacted by the fires in California, my heart would break at the devastating loss. Please let us keep those folks in our prayers. And for all who are just trying to respond in any way they can, I'm always so grateful for those who jump in to do what's needed in times of crises, bad weather, heartache. So may God bless them. Here, of course, we've been dealing more with bad weather, right? Ice and snow, that kind of stuff. We recorded on Thursday last week before we knew for sure what was going to happen. We're recording this on Thursday before we know what happened. So, boy, I hope there's nothing dramatic in the meantime. But just for those who are here, a reminder that if either Rockwood and our Most Sacred Heart School are closed, we don't have a morning mass for everyone's safety and to help clear the parking lot. And thanks for keeping an eye out for those in need. And as I say to our staff, I mean, what you guys do is so important, but please, you are more important than what you do, so stay safe. If you're at Most Sacred Heart and a guy, next weekend is our men's retreat. We'd love to have you. I think you'd love it. It was kind of a bummer to have to cancel the women's retreat, but it was the right call. Blessings on you and those you love these important days. Here's our gospel question. What do you think you sound like to others? Thanks for joining. Over the years, I've heard all kinds of organ music, and it's kind of amazing the sounds that an organ can make. Here's just a tiny, simple sample of the sound of an organ. That same brief melody played on a grand piano, the instrument of choice for some of the great classics, right, has a different sound and beauty of its own. Or with the technology it has, a digital keyboard playing the same notes can add the warmth of the sound of strings or other instrumentation, huh? Same melody, 3 different instruments. And I ask, what do you sound like? It is an important question. Me, I sound like this. At least that's what I hope I sound like. You see, Jesus hopes I sound like that, I believe. And Jesus hopes that you do, too. The word of God today from the prophet Isaiah exhorts us clearly. Comfort, give comfort to my people. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her service is at an end, her guilt is expiated. Comfort, give comfort to my people, says God. Speak tenderly. It matters to God what we sound like. That our words, spoken and unspoken, right, are comforting and tender. Now, wonderfully, our voices are different. Happily, we each have our own unique sound. This I know. With the voice I have, God counts on me to use the world of my words, the sound of my sentences, to bring kindness, to bring healing, to bring hope. My voice is meant for goodness. So is yours. Now, whether we have a deep baritone voice or the higher pitched soprano voice, we are each asked by God to make sure that the sounds of our lives are beautiful, to use words that are kind and encouraging. Healing and hopeful. It is godlike to do so. We hear today how God spoke to Jesus. God said, "You are my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." And do you hear the tenderness with which God speaks to Jesus? You are my beloved Son. With you, I am well pleased. And this baptism inaugurates Jesus' public ministry. Now, in the gospel we'll hear in 2 weeks, Jesus will tell us himself how he understands his mission statement, his call from God, his role. And there is a tenderness and a compassion at the core of how he understands his mission. He says this is his mission statement, that his role is to bring glad tidings to the poor, to proclaim liberty to captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free. That's how Jesus understands his call. It is how we are to understand our call, our mission as well. Please, we each have a responsibility to make sure that what comes out of our mouths is goodness and compassion. I mean, to others and to ourselves, right? And practically, just as musicians have to really practice to be any good at what we do, I think we have to practice communicating with kindness. Practice using our words to lift people up. Because it is such a temptation, if we're not careful, to instead be ready to lash out in anger, judgment, or hate. And just as it is, of course, a misuse of any instrument to make sounds that are ugly, so it is a misuse of our God-given power of speech, thoughts, words. Sadly, ugliness, words that are hurtful, are all too common. Online, in schools, in homes, and in workplaces. And it is never okay. It is never okay. And the difference between a musical instrument and us is that when we are an instrument of ugliness, the damage is awful and much more long-lasting. Cyberbullying and bigotry, harassment and hate cause deep hurt and harm, and too often for the rest of someone's life. Today, as followers of Jesus, you and I are invited to take a good, hard listen to what we sound like. Whatever type of instrument we are, so to speak, the question is, what comes forth from us? Is it anger, division, mean-spiritedness? Or is it kindness, tenderness, compassion? You know, a look at the life of Jesus shows that he always stood with those at the edges. You know, those who are vulnerable, those who are excluded somehow, that they might know that they were loved. That is our call as well, to stand with folks like that and to use our words in such a way, and to do this to everyone, really. Yeah. That people might know that God is with them, that we see and hear the beauty of their lives. We see and hear their goodness. It's crucial that we are people like that. You know, over the years, I've heard all kinds of organ music. I've heard some lovely pieces played on the piano. And I've certainly enjoyed the warmth and vitality of a digital keyboard. Same melody, 3 different instruments. And the question is, what do you and I sound like? It is a crucial question.